Good afternoon, everybody. Doug Jenkins from the Findlay Hancock County Chamber of Commerce. Happy to have you with us on a Monday as we get the work week started. What better way to do that than to meet one of our new members? We have with us Bryan Little with Kata Solution LLC. Bryan, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks. Good to be here.
So we had a chance to sit down and talk about your business last Thursday, and it's something I'm really interested in, and that is organizational management, helping businesses really streamline might not be the idea, the right word there, but really get into the heart of what they want to be doing.
Yeah, that's correct. Exactly. We talked about, really business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders getting more out of their business. And that's what I'm focused on because honestly, a lot of entrepreneurs, owners are just, they're hitting that ceiling. They're trying to get more out of it, but they don't know how to do it.
I think what I find interesting about this is you were drawn to this company because you had worked with them and said, hey, wait a second, this is game changing. I want to do that, which I think says a lot for a company when someone wants to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I worked for a few different companies throughout my career, and I ended up at one company. We ran the EOS model, which stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System. And I was just blown away by the results we got from the standpoint of leadership, inclusion, and team building and vision throughout the entire organization and getting the organization to grow where they wanted it to be.
When we were talking, there were three areas that really popped up that were kind of the heart of that conversation. One being just finding your company's vision. How often do you find it that people just kind of they get so into the day to day that they forget what it is they were trying to do in the first place?
Yeah, I don't want to say the percentage, but in my mind, it's the majority. The majority of organizations get so, working on the day-to-day stuff, right? And they just forget about working on the business as opposed to working in the business.
And then that plays into getting some traction, getting a healthy business organization together. What does that process look like?
Yeah, exactly. So traction really is getting that accountability and discipline throughout the entire organization. So no matter who you're talking to in the organization, they all understand working towards that vision. And healthy, honestly, simply speaking, most leadership teams really are not healthy, right? They tend to work against each other as opposed to working with each other. And so really we help the leadership teams focus on them to understand the vision. They have fun working together. They understand where they're going and how to get there. And they're just working on a daily kind of cohesive manner.
Do you have like an aha moment that you can share? That last part's interesting because sometimes you do get directors or whatever it is, whatever they're called in your company, and they're all working on their own silos and kind of forget the total mission, the vision of whatever the organization is. Do you have an aha moment? You don't have to identify the company, but where everybody said, wait a second, you're right.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what happens typically is when we start talking about transparency and being honest with each other, and you have that conversation, like I will do actually a live performance review with the leadership team together as a whole, where they're kind of reviewing each other. And sometimes those conversations get emotional. And typically after that happens, really you kind of understand, okay, this is what we're trying to get to. This makes sense to me as my aha moment. And when understand if we work together better and be more transparent with each other, then the company's really gonna, move forward as fast as possible.
Let's talk about the emotions of something like that. I think we tend to, in the business world, get into the numbers and whatever's in the Excel spreadsheet and everything. And sometimes people forget that emotions get wrapped up into a business, whether it's how someone evaluates their business or in the operations of it. Uh, how does that happen, and how does that become? I imagine it can be a good thing too, but it also can create obstacles.
Yeah, it's a great question. So it's a really big challenge for leadership teams and people working together to really open up with each other, right? But we find that they do open up with each other and they become transparent, and really that just the business just moves forward so quickly. And that's really having a frank and honest conversation, and that's my job when I work with clients is basically I'm able to enter that danger zone with the leaders and the entrepreneurs and the owners of organizations to have that tough conversation. Because once you have that, then that kind of breaks through and breaks through the ceiling, and you make all kinds of progress after that.
One of the things that really spoke to me about what we were talking about is that it's not just something where you're handing a business some worksheets and saying, here, fill this out and I'll evaluate it at the end of the quarter. You're really in the weeds with people, or maybe in the weeds isn't the right way to describe it, but you're in the trenches with them to help them through this.
Yeah, that's correct. That's my focus. My goal is to sit down with the leadership teams and really get them through those tough conversations, train them on new tools, facilitate those conversations back and forth, and help them. I mean, I'm not just doing a seminar. I'm actually going on a journey with those clients for really, a couple of years, honestly. It's when they tend to graduate. And so I'm working directly with leadership teams and the owners and the leaders really to have those conversations happen.
So, Bryan, if a company would be interested in talking to you a little bit about it, perhaps they want to see if this is the right solution for them, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, I have a couple ways to get in touch with me. The number one is my email, which is brian.little@eosworldwide.com. My website, which is www.eosworldwide.com/Brian-Little is another way. My phone number is 419-722-0268. They can contact me either way. I'm on LinkedIn, social media, so I'm happy to talk with anybody.
And you can find all of that in the Chamber directory as well. Bryan, we appreciate you coming on board as a Chamber of Commerce member. We're looking forward to doing some more things with you. There might be a podcast in your future with us as we go throughout the week here. So be sure to watch out for that if you subscribe to Chamber Amplified. Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
For Bryan, I'm Doug. Have a great afternoon, everybody.